Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about some budget food ideas that you can use in your get home or your bug out bag. Alright, thanks for joining me today. What I got in front of you is a list of stuff that I've come up with just by going to the store locally here, or various stores we have in town locally, and just compiling a simple, basic list of stuff that you can put in your bug out bags for food supply that won't cost you a fortune and is readily available. Any of this stuff here you can pick up this afternoon if you want. You know, it's not hard to get. You don't have to order it. It doesn't require a ton of prep, although some stuff does require cooking. And it's a little less expensive than going out and, say, buying, $8 or $9 entrees for freeze-dried food. Now, there are some downfalls to that. With freeze-dried food, it's pretty much set and forget. You can put a couple of freeze-dried entrees in your get-home or your bug-out bag and kind of forget them. They're good for a pretty long time. I do rotate mine out every 4 or 5 years, but it's probably unnecessary, and a lot of the ones that you've seen me actually taste test on my channel are the ones that have been in my bug-out bag for 4 or 5 years. So before we get into the food, we're going to explain what we're trying to do here. In a bug-out scenario or a get-home scenario, and I mentioned get-home bags because I think they're a little bit different. Get-home bag is something you'll keep in an office, maybe you'll keep in a vehicle, you might keep it at work, or you might take it to work with you every day. You're getting home from your job or whatever, and they're probably going to be a little less complicated and a little less food dense than, say, a bug-out bag where you're leaving and possibly never coming back to wherever you left from. So that's the difference of those. But in a bug-out scenario, we're looking to get from one place to another where we need to be. Okay, so we need high-calorie, high-carb, protein-rich diet. Those carbs will keep us moving down the road. They'll keep us going. If you can get it, you can afford MREs or freeze-dried, that's great. But if you're doing this on a budget, this is some stuff you can use. There are a couple things you got to consider when you're kind of hunting for this kind of food. Freeze-dried entrees, we know they're light. And MREs you can field strip and just take out the entree on the side, and it's a lot lighter. This stuff can get pretty heavy if you're not careful on what you buy. And if you notice, everything here is in packs. Even the Spam isn't in a can. I'm not going to stick a can of Spam in a bug-out bag. So what we're looking for is space. How much space do they take up? Weight. How much do they weigh? And calories, and how convenient it is for you to use. Now, a good amount of this stuff you could probably eat without even cooking it. Obviously, you don't need to cook the nuts or anything like that, or the jerky, or even the salmon and tuna over here. You don't need to cook it. Some people even eat the Spam and the ramen raw. I'm not about to do that. I like my stuff cooked. But we're not trying to find the most healthy food, all right? Just a dense, carb-rich, protein-rich diet, okay? This isn't a lifelong diet. This isn't what you're going to store for the end of the world, or for your apocalypse stash or your food stash. This is just enough to get you home, get you where you're going. It's not health food, in other words. I wouldn't suggest eating nothing but, say, Campbell's Ready Meals in your food storage. You want to have a diverse kind of mix-up here. Now, we're going to go through this piece by piece. I'm going to show you everything and explain my opinions on it, and we'll go from there. All right, we're going to start off with the heaviest item here probably, and that is these Campbell's, Hormel, either Hormel or Campbell's, same company, makes these complete meals. They are pretty good. They can be field stripped down. I have one here that I'm about to rotate, and what you can do is you can just take off this packaging, okay, toss it out, and there's your meal. But they are a little heavy, they are a little bulky and awkward. However, they are pre-cooked, so in a pinch, if you got to run, and you don't want to start a fire or start cooking on the side of the road, they can be eaten. So this is what they look like. That's my favorite one, the Swedish meatballs one. I love that one. All right, so you got that. Now, what's next? We're going to go with raisins. These can be opened up. You can stick a pack or two in your bag. Good snack. And that's another thing, too. I'm going to mention snack foods. You don't necessarily, let's say, I'll give you a scenario. You're bugging out, you work in a city, you're getting out of Dodge, you're going back home, you have a situation like, say, the LA riots, okay? Are you going to want to set up on the corner of a street with your little wood stove and start cooking your meal? No. You're going to want to grab, say, something like this and tear at it, take a couple quick bites and get the heck out of there, you know? So that's something to be considered too. You want to balance your, especially in get-home bags, you want to balance your food so you're not having to cook all of it, you know? Because again, if you're in the middle of civil unrest or some kind of emergency or disaster, the last thing you're going to want to do is sit there and set up your stove in the middle of it and start cooking food. So raisins, excellent option, very nutritious, very nice and dense, full of protein, good stuff. Now we'll get on to what I was showing you. Different types of beef jerky and beef sticks and this kind of stuff. You can buy these almost anywhere. I always toss a few of these in my everyday carry bag even. Because sometimes, you know, hey, in society today, there could be some kind of disaster and you could be locked in a building for 4 hours, you know. With the new mentality of locking people in the danger or lockdowns, you got some food with you. Next up, another thing doesn't need to be cooked. Nuts. Nice and simple, healthy, easy to eat. Open up a package, toss them in your pocket, pick at them as you go. If you have people you work with who have nut allergies, maybe you want to reconsider it. Generally, if you have a get-home bag or a bug-out bag in your vehicle and it's locked, I wouldn't worry about it. Something else too, especially out here in the heat, where you need to replenish electrolytes. These little Propel things. I keep a couple of these in my everyday carry bag too, because I always have water with me. And in a worst case scenario, I can dump this in and really rehydrate. I also have some instant coffee. Now people say, well, how am I going to cook that? Well, if you really want to go low budget in your gear, okay, and you want stuff that works, I can show you a little trick here. Build yourself an alcohol stove. Get yourself an old tin can. Burn out the plastic on the inside. I like to use a blowtorch. Or just toss it in the fire and then scrub it up and clean it up really good. Guess what? You got yourself a way to cook. Didn't cost anything. I mean, you can get this stuff out of the garbage if you really, really want to go low budget. So anyway, these are easy to pack, easy to carry. Next thing, Nutella. Now, you know, I have never had Nutella in my life. I am going to try it. Everybody says it's so good. Growing up, to me, it was always considered something you only got from Europe, and now I see it in the stores. And you know what? That's actually pretty good. These packages are rather small and rather brittle, so remember that when packing them, you know, something sharp to poke right through. But this is good, dense, high-energy food that will get you moving. And yeah, I gotta say, that was actually pretty good. That's the first time I've ever had it. I just licked a little bit out of there. First time I've ever had it. I'm not a big sweet eater, so I don't seek the stuff out, but it is actually pretty good. Okay, energy bars, protein bars, any kind of bars. From Kind bars, Nutella bars, from Kind bars to oatmeal raisin bars, I mean the apple bars, Cliff bars, there's tons of them out there. Especially the protein energy ones that people use pre-workout. Excellent thing to have in your bag. Even if you just want to stack 2 or 3 of them in there, and that's it. You know, if that's your main food source, if you don't live that far from home, you'll get home and you'll be full. All right, next up, these again are kind of heavy. These are the Campbell Ready Meals. If you go back and you look, I did a review of a bunch of different types of these. They are a little heavy, but they are pretty good. They're very salty. The sodium is 790 milligrams per serving, and that's 1 pouch. I'll give you the nutrition info there. Again, we're not looking for health food. We're looking for high carbohydrate. You know, think of what runners do before a marathon. They load up on pasta. Well, you may not be used to walking 10, 12, 30, 40 miles home, you know, or walking yourself out of your house and to your bug out location. So you want something that's pretty dense and heavy that's going to get you moving. Next up, these things are awesome, and they are light. These are almost as light as, I'd say, a freeze-dried entree. You can stack them like that, you know, thin side against the thick side. And you can put 4 or 5 of these in a pack. You can even use them in a Ziploc bag or something, put them all together. They have herb and butter rice and butter-flavored fettuccine. Now, with these, I'm going to tell you, be careful. A lot of these require milk. You're not going to be carrying milk with you, and I wouldn't suggest carrying condensed or dehydrated or anything like that. Just look for the ones that just require water. And they also say margarine optional. I would just stick with the water. That's how we make these at home. But here you got rice and you got butter butter noodles. You can make that with one of your other items. Now, people have asked me, why boil in bag rice? Why not stick some original regular rice in a Ziploc bag? This stuff boils quick. That's why. Again, time is of the essence, especially in a bug out, in a get home scenario. You know, you don't want to be sitting out exposed, cooking food forever. You can take a couple of these little bags here. And this is the same as Success rice. This is just the Walmart version of it. You can pack these flat in a Ziploc bag. And you've got a side of rice for whatever other entree you're eating with. They cook quickly. They don't require a lot of fuel. They don't require a lot of water. Real simple. Cooking time is 10 minutes total for those. So you can take a couple of those and pack them up. And don't think if you buy something in a big box like this that it's useless for a bug out bag. Repack it. You guys have food not food dehydrators, the sealers, food sealers. Those are awesome for making yourself a little portable mini MRE. This is something new, and you can buy these pretty much anywhere now. These little pouches. One has salmon, one has tuna. These are real easy to eat. They can be eaten right out of the pouch. Get yourself a spoon or a fork or whatever, open them up, and you can eat these. You can also heat them up if you want. My own personal preference with Spam is to kind of crisp it up. But in a real pinch, I could eat these raw, because they are already cooked. I should say eat them without further preparation. Oh, I wanted to mention the Nutella. It comes in a box like this, full of mini cups, if you're looking for it in the store. These little tiny individual mini cups. All right, moving on. This stuff is all kind of what I'd consider side dishes to your Spam or fish or whatever you're carrying. These are kind of bulky, but they work really well. These are mac and cheese. You just stick water in them, cover them up. You know, you can carry a piece of tin foil to put over the top, or you can just seal this back over. They cook up really nice. They taste pretty good. You know, I could throw some Spam in that. One of those Spam packs. This and this could be a meal. And again, especially with get-home bags from work or wherever you're going to be, you don't really need a ton of food. You don't need a bunch of diverse options. I'm not going to stock spices and kale and all this other stuff in there. I'm looking for quick food that'll fill me up and get me moving. The good old standby ramen. You can eat these raw. I know some people that do. They'll use the spice pack for a seasoning and they'll just eat the thing raw. But you can cook it, and then again, it requires very little water, very quick preparation. Noodle soup. These chicken noodle soups. These things are awesome. We call them boxed soup because they're in a box. And my wife and I use these for when we're sick. It's really kind of convenient. And lastly, good old instant oatmeal. Talk about a nice carb-dense food. You know, you can pack 2 or 3 of these in there, pour in some boiling water, and again, as simple as put your boiling water and your alcohol stove in a can. And again, I would look for a can without the rubberized stuff in there. I burn it out myself. I'll toss it in the fire. I'll use a blowtorch and just burn all that out. But there are cans without that. And if you want to go and buy a $5 Walmart cup, you know, and make yourself a little alcohol stove, there are thousands of videos on these. There are tons of different ways to make them. So you can do this very, very cheaply and make yourself a good kit and be way ahead of everybody else out there trying to survive a disaster. And I mean, this whole box here, you know, that I put together of all this food probably didn't cost me more than 20 bucks, maybe 25. So that's the video for today. Just give you some budget food items for your bug out bags or your get home bags. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to check out our links down below. We've got our Amazon link. You can shop there. Doesn't cost you anything. Helps bring a little money into the channel so we can buy cool stuff off Amazon and review it. And don't forget our Thrive Life link down below that one. We have some new stuff coming out from Thrive that I'm going to order. And you get to try it out. You get to see it. Not try it out, but you get to see it and decide whether you like it. I think the new stuff, it's the to-go items. I think they're going to be really, really handy for just what I was showing you today. You know, bug out bags and get home bags. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.